Hi, this is Alan Shay with Our Society, and I am so privileged to be here tonight with a gentleman who I've known, who's also been an incredible mentor for me as an individual. And I wanted to share his story with you viewers because I think not only is it powerful in and of itself because of his story, but also the fact that these things in life happens, and by being aware of them, of the type of issues that come up in our life and our families, by having an individual who demonstrate that he has the will and the faith, we can move our family unit together to overcome all the challenges of life. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Elias Ponsing, and today's story theme is called Truth, and hopefully viewers, you will embrace this story. So
downtown LA.
So what was going through your mind when you were taking this ride under those conditions?
Terrible conditions. I've never, I've always driven my own car, never had to worry about that, and then to be put in this situation, unbelievable. Very excuse me, very uncomfortable.
And were there, was the bus full when you were transported to Wayside? Or?
It wasn't completely full, no. It wasn't until later that, when going to court, that the buses were full.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were going back and forth to...
Back and forth
Okay.
from Wayside to Grand Central.
Okay.
And then from there to Pomona, because and in El Monte, since it's a Superior Court, the only one in Superior Court would have to be in Pomona, so that's where I had to go.
Right. So why don't you share with the viewers so they can really begin to understand the demeaning approaches that you had to submit to going into this. So when you first got to Wayside, what was the entry process, the entering process, or the intake process?
Well, it started while I was against the Grand Central Jail. The idea of having to go to the bathroom with all these people around, no privacy, you have to shower with 4 or 5 other people, you have to go to the bathroom with 3 or 4 other people, everybody's watching, there's no privacy, and I wasn't used to that. You know, you're used to being in the bathroom by yourself, and this was very uncomfortable for me. So always stripped naked, can't do this, can't do that. Now each place has their own program. The program was better at Wayside, but even so, you know, you had certain places you can do things, the showers, the cleaning, the washing, all of that was just unbelievable. There was nothing that says comfort, nothing. No pillows, we had to sleep on a small mat, and I got the idea of folding the mattress a little bit and putting the sheet over it so I can use that as a pillow, because you don't have any of those things. The little things that you appreciate and never even think of are taken away from you. Your privacy is gone. You have to bathe in front of everybody. You have to go to the bathroom in front of everybody. And it's just something I could not get used to. It was very, very hard for me.
So can you share with the viewers what, in your opinion, was the most degrading, condescending, offensive part of this process for you?
Well, the most degrading thing for me happened only at Wayside. When I got there, like I said, I wasn't by myself. We were chained with 3 other people. We all walk into this room, and there was, at that time, I believe there was like 10 of us. We are told to strip completely naked, turn around and face the wall, and then put your hands up, put them behind your head, squat down like you're a catcher in a baseball catcher, and cough whenever they said no, 3. They would cough real loud, and then they'd make you stand up again, face them, and move your fingers and they check your mouth with your tongue, all that, completely naked. And then they make you turn around and spread your cheeks. I mean, you have to, why they do that, I don't know, in front of it. That is so degrading, so embarrassing, and it only happens at Wayside. All the other places never did that. That was very, very degrading. not just for me, but everybody felt the same way.
So was there any point during this process that you felt that you had lost your faith?
No, it was the contrary. I had so much time on my hands that I prayed a lot of the times. I ended up saying the rosary every single day, and I asked God to please bring me back to my wife and my family. And I missed my wife terribly because I had never been away from her, never. Always came home, never stayed out anywhere, and I always slept here with her. And then to be taken away from that was a complete, very, very hard for me, very hard.
So
I missed her dearly.
So can you share with the viewers so that they can begin to have a real understanding of you now being in Wayside? You've gone through this very degrading process of being
Very degrading.
admitted into the Wayside prison system, and you have no idea of how long you're going to be there.
No,
What was going through your mind?
nothing. It was a good month or two later that I found out through my attorney what I was accused of. It just took that long because in other words, he was not there at the beginning, and he would go to visit me and said, this and this is what you're up against. And he didn't have all the information that he wanted, and the El Monte police station would not send the recording that they made of the questions that were asked of the little girl. And it seemed to me like when I found out that this little girl was saying yes to everything they asked her. Did he do this? He said yes. Did he do that? Yes. Did he do that? I said, where did all this come from? You know, how could that happen? And that was my impression. And it was my attorney's impression also, that the way they questioned her, it was like a suggestion type of thing, and that she would just say yes to everything. And I said, this never happened. It just never did.
So now, once you began to realize that these allegations were made against you, you had retained a private attorney.
Yes,
is that correct?
yes.
And did your attorney make a demand upon the DA's office for a copy of your file to see what is the evidence that they had gathered against you to be for your prosecution?
Absolutely. And here's the problem was that even though the DA had a copy, he wouldn't have a copy. Even the DA would take a week or two to turn over the copy, and I didn't know anything like it. And my understanding was that he's supposed to get them at the same time. He would, if he had a copy, he would give it to her, but she wouldn't give it to him. And then the El Monte police, over 2 months it took for him to get the information, to get that recording of of the questionings and all. 2 months to get it, and all this time I'm doing time, and I thought that was very unfair. And then another, when they took her to San Bernardino, because that's where she allegedly did her to her siblings, that had to go into San Bernardino because they lived in Upland.
Okay, so
And that took 8 months for him to get that information. It's just uncalled for.
so now, based on what you just brought to the viewer's attention, it appears that there was criminal charges brought against her. That what
Yes,
what
yes,
transpired.
yes, exactly.
So now you actually have two criminal cases going at the same time, yours and hers.
Right.
Okay.
That was brought to my attention. And it wasn't until, I don't know, months later that whatever happened over there, since they knew that they had a better case over here with me in El Monte, they dropped her charges. They dropped them and made it less, you know, like either we forgot about them or turned it to a misdemeanor or whatever.
Right.
Because my charges were considered a felony. And they felt that since they had a better chance of putting me or keeping me in jail for life over here than over there with what they had for her siblings.
Okay, well let's go back a little bit, because you just touched upon something that the viewers should be very mindful of. You just mentioned that you had charges levied against you that you could do life.
Yes, yes. It turned out the more my attorney found out, he filed what they call a discovery, some other motion.
Yes.
And he would finally, after 2 months, the judge had to call the El Monte police station and say, you have that resent to my lawyer because he asked for it 2 months ago, you haven't done it. So the following day he got the information. And that's when my lawyer told me that all these charges that they had on me, 7 counts against me, and they were all live counts.
They were all live.
Every single one of them was a live count. I said, wow. And then it hit me. I said, God, I can't believe that this is happening. I'm going to spend a life here. I don't want to die in jail. I want to spend what years I have left with my wife and my family. Please, God, help me, help me.
So let's touch upon when you found out about the severity of the counts that were against you. What was the thought process that your attorney had for your pretrial? Because before you go to trial, you have what is called a pretrial section or segment in which the prosecutors have to provide their evidence of the allegations that's against you. So didn't your attorney flush that out so that...
Yes. What happened was this. Once he got that information from Al Monaco, and he came to Wayside to tell me, and he says, this is what you're up against. He says, but with what I see here, I'm going to ask for a trial from the very beginning because I can win this for you. I can set you free. This is what I have, and I know how to defend this. I formed this defense against, and he figured, I'm going to get you free. And I said, great. So I look forward to that, and I believed him. I put myself in his hands. But every time we'd go to court, they would give me an extension. No, you have to come back in 30 days, or 2 months, or another 30 days, because they kept postponing my trial.
And that was more in part because of how the prosecutor was controlling the evidence, or?
Well, that took part also. Plus, she would take her time in turning over the information she had. When he finally got all that, and then the pre-trial, as you mentioned, that's when I sat there and found out what everything, all the charges that were against me. That's when you find out in the pre-trial, and to find out if there's enough evidence to actually have a trial.
Right.
And the judge at that time felt that there was enough there so that we could proceed to a trial. And my attorney says, let's go for it, because this is what I can get you free. I know I can do it. And he says, yes, let's get a trial. And but then the law says they have to give it to me within 60 days. So then they looked at the calendar, they got their days together, and then in 50 days I was supposed to come back to get my date for the trial.
Okay, so why don't you share with the viewers, because I think this also tests your faith as well as brought the family in. You indicated you had a private attorney.
Yes.
So I would imagine the litigation or putting on a defense of your case was not cheap.
No, it wasn't. Even though he was like I mentioned before, my friend is an attorney. But he says, the last 10 years I've been doing nothing but divorces. I used to do these trials and I'm not doing them now. I'm going to get you the best attorney that I know to defend you. I said, well, thank you. And he came up with this gentleman named Joseph. He's got 36 years doing this, and according to my friend, he's the best attorney that he knows. That's exactly how it turned out. And he said, well, thank you. But we had to, what do you call it, get a mortgage, not mortgage, a reverse
mortgage.
A reverse mortgage for the house to pay for this man. Even though he gave me a big discount, I had to do that. I had no money like that, you know. And it turned out that he was with me for 10 months. So you have to pay for them. They're not cheap.
And so between weighing out whether to make the investment to defend yourself with a private attorney, or whether to bail yourself out, was bailing yourself out even an option?
No. I told my wife, don't you dare try to bail me out. It's too expensive. I'll stay here. And then what she did, right away, I gave her the power of attorney, and she started a reverse mortgage in order to have the money to pay for my attorney. I told her, please, don't tell me how much it's going to cost me. I don't want to know. I don't want to have something else to worry about. And I told that to my attorney too, because anytime we met, there was papers filed, and he could always give me a copy of that. I said, you know, I don't want to see him. I don't want nothing to worry about. I don't want to keep him. I have to keep him. I gotta hide him. I don't want nobody to see. So he said, I'll tell you what, I won't send you nothing. I said, that's perfect. Don't send me any papers. Don't send me nothing. Keep everything just in our visits, and that's how it worked out. Because I had enough to worry about already, and I was doing the best I could not to worry about these things, and God was finally helping me. I was adapting. I got used to the program at Wayside. You have to follow the program. There are restrictions for whatever silly you think they may be. You have to do them.
So were you also given guidelines based on ethnicity, based on politics within the cell you were in or aligned with certain people
Yes.
for protection?
Yes.
Is that a good assumption to direct? So what was your experience there?
Well, see, since this young man helped me so much, and then I found out, you find out things little by little, and they have what you call 3 groups in there. You have your homies. Your homies, if you're from the same hometown, like if you're from El Monte and there's a guy from El Monte, he's your homie. In the same town, same neighborhood. Homies. I never use those words. Then you're a paisa. It's short for paisano, meaning you're from the same country. Since I spoke Spanish, and these people from El Salvador speak Spanish, so then that made me a paisano, a paisa from the same country. And I asked Ralph, I knew his name by then. I said, Ralph, what are you? He says, I'm a paisano. I speak Spanish. He says, I'm gonna be whatever you are. Because I felt comfortable with it, so I became a paisano, and that turned out to be the majority of the 96 people that were in it. We had about 40, 45 paisanos. And then there was the black group, which ended up about 10 or 12. And then there was a white group, also about 15, 20. So we had these groups, and that was called the politics of everything. And there was one man in charge, the first man, the second, and third, that helped them run and clean and run the.
So you had a trustee.
Yes, you had a trustee.
A trustee in every.
He was called the number one man.
Number one man in each cell. And so as a result of it, they taught you or told you where the boundaries were that
Right.
you could not cross.
Yes. He would stand up in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, the lights would come on, and there was the number one man that says, get ready for breakfast, chow time, breakfast, breakfast. His voice, you could hear it all over. And then he would tell you to get in line and say, okay, row 1, which is where I was, get in line and walk. And then you would walk a certain way to get to your table and get your food and sit down and eat. And then he would say, row 2, walk. And I said, he was in control. And once we got our breakfast, most of the people would go back to sleep, and then it was up to him to say, okay, we're gonna clean up. They had mops and cleaning materials and disinfectants to clean the floor where we were, and also on our aisle. We had a mop and sweep and mop our aisle twice a day, just like the rest was. Bathrooms, showers, everything was clean twice a day, keeping it as sanitary as possible with 96 people in there. And it was very cold, very cold.
Why don't you share with the viewers, since you're giving them a pretty explicit picture of the
Yes,
cell
that was my
life.
That was my life.
Yeah, why don't you share with them how often they would do bed checks?
Oh, they would do bed checks 3 times a day. You have to understand this, because of my age, and when I left downtown Central Jail, I had a thermal. Now, Wayside does not allow thermals, so they took them away from me. They took my thermal away, and I was very cold. I was cold for 10 months. I couldn't get used to the 64 degrees. It turns out they keep it that cold to kill the germs when people sneeze and cough, because germs do not survive in cold weather. That's fine if you're a young man, and I'm not, and I was cold for 10 months. I was so uncomfortable. I would wear 2 t-shirts, because they give you 2 t-shirts twice a week. On Mondays and Thursdays, you would change your underwear and your uniform twice a week. So I wore as much as 3 t-shirts. But the guys were so nice to me, they would say, here, I got an extra t-shirt, take it. I would put it on. And I would walk around with the blanket that I had. I looked like an Indian walking around all the time. People wouldn't recognize me when I took my blanket off. I mean, I was cold.
Right.
And this happened for 10 months in a row. And I said, oh my God, just prayed to God. The more I prayed, the stronger my faith became in God. In my rosary praying to his mother, the Blessed Virgin, and I would pray to his mother, I said, speak to your son for me, please. Have him have mercy on me. Have him give me strength. Do what you can for me. Speak for me. And that's how I always speak to our Blessed Mother, Jesus Christ's mother. And that's how it's like having a friend asking you, get me that job. You know the owner, so speak up for me. That's how I would use his mother to speak to God. Please give me, be merciful with me and help me out and get me home.
So what was the most violent event that you witnessed while you were in Wayside?
Wayside, like I said, it was 50 times better. While I was there for 10 months, I never experienced a fight once. There was a fight, but it was outside in the yard, and it was so cold I wouldn't go out unless the sun was shining. I would stand there and defrost. In my way, I said, I'm going out to defrost.
Right.
And I would get warm and stay there for 10, 15 minutes. I'd get so nice and warm, and then I would walk back in and cover myself with my blanket. But when one of those days there was a fight out there, I never saw it. Or over here in Central, it happened right in front of everybody, but I never saw that one. So I never experienced one fight while I was there in Wayside. That's how great it was compared to downtown.
So why don't you share with the viewers, as you're going through this process, especially now you're starting to accumulate, days and months where you didn't have any clear indication of when you would be released.
Exactly.
What was the interaction you had with your family, and how did the strength and emotion and love for your family members grow, and how did they believe, how did they take on this stress?
What a wonderful wife I had. At Wayside, you can visit Saturday and Sunday. And my wife was there Saturday and Sunday for all those months. And my daughter, my wife. And my wife does not drive the freeway. So my neighbors, my friends would volunteer to take her. And I appreciated seeing these people, these friends of mine and neighbors. And I thanked them from the bottom of my heart because they were supporting me and helping my wife. And I couldn't believe, I thank God. And being human, as the time went by, I was able to adapt to the program, and I started to learn the program to the point that I knew when the sheriffs would walk in every hour on the hour and check on us. And those 3 bed checks that you mentioned, one at 7 o'clock, at 2:45 in the afternoon, and at 9:30 at night, the last one. And you had to be a certain way. You had to be laying down on your stomach and facing the blue wall so that they could come in and check. You could not be covered with your blanket. You had to be fully dressed in your outfit and no shoes and on your belly facing the blue wall. And that was their routine. If you didn't do that, then because 1 or 2 people wouldn't do it, all of us suffered. They would take our television privileges away. They would take our yard privileges away. We had to follow their program. And young people, they didn't care. They just wouldn't do it. And every time they didn't do it, they would get sent to the hole and stay there for 10, 15, and 20 days to learn discipline.
Right.
You had to put your shirt in tucked in. You couldn't walk around with your shirt. If you were going to breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you had to be tucked in. And these guys wanted you to be on, they didn't do it. You couldn't wear your shower shoes. They wanted you with your other shoes. And they just disobeyed. And we suffered for it.
So why don't you give the viewers a real insightful understanding of the process when you are being transferred out to go to a hearing or trial or...
It was sad because being in Wayside on the other side of Magic Mountain, 35 miles away from the Grand Central, they would wake us up every day at 2:30 in the morning. 2:30 in the morning, I would only have maybe 2 to 3 hours sleep. They take you, give you 15 minutes to brush your teeth, comb or do whatever you have to do, take your medication. They take you to a room where they would give you breakfast, which consisted of cereal, a banana, and like that, and milk, okay? And And then from there, at 4 o'clock in the morning, the bus would come to transfer you from there over to Grand Central, the jail. And then you have to wait there an hour or two, get another bus to take you to Pomona. And this went on all the time. And because of that, being in Pomona, you'd have to wait in there, they bring you back to Grand Central, and you would miss the bus. So what happens, you have to stay there till 8 o'clock at night, get the last bus, go over to Wayside, miss dinner. You miss all your dinner, your hot meal. You didn't have nothing to eat during the day because they wouldn't feed you unless you wanted peanut butter and jelly, which I'm not gonna touch for a long time. And that's all you had for lunch. And then you go over there, you miss dinner, and they give you a bean burrito. And I'm not used to eating late. I'm used to eating at 5 o'clock. You know, I'm spoiled. My wife would spoil me, and we would eat dinner every day. My children knew it. At 5 o'clock, we'd be having dinner. So you get used to that. When you do it for 30, 40 years, your system gets used to it.
And share with the viewers too. Every time you went from the court and come back with the bus to Wayside, you have to be re-admitted through that same.
Yes, to the same embarrassing thing. See, they feel that you got drugs, so they gotta check your mouth, they gotta check your rear like that, and they put a flashlight there to see if you had shoved anything up your rectum. It is so embarrassing in front of all these people. And you're completely naked, and it was so embarrassing. That was very humiliating. I could never get used to that.
Right. And you, because you had trial and motions,
Yeah.
you went through it a number of times.
I went through it 13, 14 days in a row.
Wow.
Because I had to be there to assist and be there present when they were choosing the jury. Yes, I didn't know I had to be there. I said, I thought that was your job. He said, no. If you feel you don't like this person, or for whatever reason, maybe he or she made a face or whatever, you're uncomfortable, you let me know and we'll get her out or him out. You see. So I had to be there to assist it. It took 3 days to get the jury out of 50 people.
Wow.
It took 3 days to choose. We chose 14 people to have 2 alternates.
Now, before we get to the jury part or the trial part, what I'd like for the viewers to really get an understanding again, and this is called the truth in testing your faith, is would you share with the viewers how did you feel about our judicial system, about the Almighty Police Department, and our system as a whole when it comes to law enforcement?
There again, I've never been exposed to it, and when I was shocked as that nothing moves fast. Everything is so slow, so